everyone, my name is Sam Willens, your mother of Valkyries and your host of the Sword and the Ribbon podcast. This episode, I will be interviewing Valkyrie Mia. You might remember her from episode 3, when she took us all to school teaching us about Valkyrie lore and history. You've also heard her on various other episodes, including episode 16, The Sword and the Mountain. After almost a year of being in Valkyrie Squad, Mia has been in the program from the start. So welcome, Mia.
Hi, Sam.
Thank you so much for being willing to share your story on the podcast today.
You know what, the amount of change that has come to my life since Valkyrie Squad, I can't not share.
And that's what the whole podcast is about, right? The whole Valkyrie Squad is about, just sharing your story. So for those who don't know you, can you give them a quick introduction chapter about yourself?
I am a mom of 3. I've been married for 13 years to my wild beard husband. I spent 9 years in Alaska. I go hunting, and I am a farmer, and I am a book nerd. I am a devourer of worlds. Being a book goblin isn't enough for me. I read them entirely too fast, but I enjoy myself the whole time, so it's okay. I have recently fallen in love with fitness more than ever. I used to train for marathons and everything, but I had to switch gears, and now I call myself a professional Valkyrie because it's what I do every day.
You fully embodied Valkyrie in the past year.
It's been fun.
It's been a journey, that's for sure. But let's do a few rapid fire questions before we jump into your full story. What fandoms are you a part of?
Too many.
Some may say the limit may not exist.
Yes, the limit does not exist. I am a total history and mythology nerd. I love badass superhero women. And the only one I guess I'm not really a super big part of, I guess, is Disney, and that's just because there's not enough of the girls being the hero. Okay, there's too many little girls waiting to be rescued, and that I just couldn't jive with that. So, but otherwise, all levels of badassery, Lord of the Rings. Pretty much anything, really. You could give me something to nerd out on, and I will.
Fair enough. I will defend Disney for just a tad. Is that in the past few years we've had an upcoming of badassery women.
Okay, so old school Disney, I guess, is the fandom I'm not really a part of.
Excuse me, Mulan? Nala was pretty badass.
I guess so. Yeah, no, you're right. She was pretty badass.
I'm gonna fight you on this one. I'm like, no. I'm like, wait. I'm gonna defend the fandom that raised me.
I guess that my thing is I was more into books than I was in movies. So Disney wasn't a huge thing in my childhood past.
So, because you were more into books, what was the last book you read?
I am currently reading Game of the Gods, which is a Hades and Persephone series. It just came out 2 days ago, and so I'm on book 6. There's another book that's supposed to come out in November. So I've been binging those a lot lately.
So if you could use any weapon in battle, which would you choose?
Oh, I'm a really big fan of the swords. Ever since I got to Valkyrie month, swords have, I ran sword drills this morning. It was raining. It was the only cool part of the day, and I was just like, and if I don't get out and take this now, it's not going to happen. So I went out and ran sword drills in the rain. I also trained mace this year too, though, and using that mace, you feel like a fucking powerhouse when you have that thing in your hands, because you can't really afford to be clumsy when you have a mace in your hand. Once it's going, and you're going with it. And so, that's a really intimidating and powerful weapon right there. So it would be between the sword and the mace.
I can see that, and mace can help you with sword because of the weight distribution.
Right. No, and the footwork is very similar, is what I noticed during training, is that you really need to have that center of balance anchored. You need to know where that is at all times and never let it slip out. And that's what's going to make you the most skilled.
Yes, completely. So which is your favorite SJM series?
For a long time, it was ACOTAR, because I was so thoroughly invested and obsessed. And then I got my hands on Throne of Glass. And I also read Crescent City, because you have to read them all. But it was definitely, Throne of Glass definitely did big things for me. Aylin's story is intense.
Okay, so Aylin is maybe your favorite?
It's really hard for me to choose, if I'm being like 100% honest, because I really connected with Nesta in ACOTAR, but I also, the constant perseverance that Aylin needed in order to push through everything really spoke to me. And so I really felt that with her. But I also can't deny the badassery of Bryce in Crescent City. It's hard to choose. I really love them all. They all have a special place in my heart. Really.
When you were reading them, I definitely thought you were going to be a Bryce girl, like 100%. I was like, that's going to be her character. So I'm shocked that I'm not shocked you couldn't decide, but I'm more shocked that you kind of lean more towards the Throne of Glass.
Crescent City was truthfully one of the first fae fantasies that were set in a futuristic to modern kind of time frame, because I hadn't really read one like that before, and I still haven't read another like that, because how can you compare anything to it? Really, the world building in Crescent City took so long, and it kind of took the piss out of it for me a little bit, because I was ready for more things to happen. And while Throne of Glass also has some really incredible world building, there's a lot of action going on at the same time. And so I really liked the layers in Throne of Glass.
Thank you for sharing. I know it's like a fun case study to see which of the three universes or Mossverses people lean towards and love more. It's a fun case study.
I emotionally analyze characters and everything too. And Bryce, it seems, I don't know, I think it's maybe that I struggle to relate with her just because her emotions feel a little bit younger than me, maybe. I don't know if maybe that's it, or I really can't put my finger on what it is, I guess, that separates them. But Throne of Glass has been a little bit closer to me, I guess, than the other two.
Amazing. But enough about those fictional characters. Let's get into your nonfiction, your real story. So where did your journey start before Valkyrie Squad?
So I have a long history with depression and anxiety. I struggle with PTSD, but I have always still had this weird ability to be optimistic and be positive that the next day everything will be okay. Something will improve. Something will get better. We're going to start back 7 years ago. We're going to go back in age. I was marathon training in Alaska, and I had really started to get into fitness when I was in my mid-20s. And it had become really important to me. And I was running all the time. I was swimming. I was cross training and strength training. And then I got into a car accident. And it was a head-on collision at highway speed. And my heater core came through the dashboard and firewall in my Jeep and landed on my feet. So one thing about me is that I'm not a cardio fan. I don't like running. I have never liked running in my life. At that time, I had taught myself to run. And so I was not only dealing with the physical aspect of the injuries in the car accident, but then when I was told I won't be able to run again, I was then also dealing with a very emotional attachment to something that I had learned to really love. So I had lifelong damage in my feet. I broke 7 metatarsals between both of my feet. So I had 4 on one foot and 3 on the other, and they were not just fractured, but they were crushed. So I had hundreds of breaks through my bones. And that was really hard. I was in a wheelchair for a few months. I had weeks and weeks and weeks of physical therapy and learning how to walk again. And I got to watch very, very quickly all of the work that I had done, marathon training and working out and learning to love all of these aspects of myself and finding this part of myself in fitness, just watching it all just kind of spiral down the drain. And I never really got out of the depressive hole that created for me. After the accident, we left Alaska because it's freaking cold there and it's not really great for healing. And we moved back to Michigan, which is where I met my husband, went to school and everything. And then, we decided we were going to open a restaurant and start a farm and do all of this stuff. And then the pandemic happened and everything just kind of spiraled. And so we lost both of our businesses and housing. And needless to say, I was in a really, really, really dark hole. I was laying in bed every day crying and, I couldn't find the drive to try and pick back up and start again. And at this point, it had also been like 10 years since I'd been like really, really in my like geeky book loving part of life because I was a mom. And so I was always taking care of babies all the time. I didn't have the opportunity to sit down and like really dive into a book again, except when I was depressed. And so I was like, I keep seeing this book all over my TikTok when I'm doom scrolling my life away. And so I decided to buy ACOTAR. And I think I read it in like a day and a half. I'm pretty sure I didn't sleep. I read all of it and I couldn't wait for more. And hey, all of them are published like up until A Court of Silver Flames. So I just made me plow through them even more. And so like by the end of the week, I had read all of the books in ACOTAR. And reading ACOSF, I bawled so much. I cried so much through that book. But more than just being emotional, that last book especially lit a fire under my ass. And it really galvanized me into wanting to make a change and wanting to get up. Like I remember waking up the day after I read that book and staring at my wall and being like, I cannot spend another fucking second of my life in this room just sad about all of the things that have gone wrong.
Yeah. So from there, how did you find Valkyrie Squad? Because it sounds like you were at that precipice of like change. And then I'm assuming Valkyrie Squad came pretty close after that?
Yes. Like literally within like 2 weeks, I think, of me finishing the book. I was so inspired by A Court of Silver Flames and Nesta's journey that I was messaging my friend in Texas. And I was just like, would I be like weird if I decided to start working out again because I like was inspired by these like fictional fae people in like this non-existent realm? But she's just like, no, dude, whatever makes it work for you. Like if that is what does it, like get up and do it. Like so I wrote it up. I still have it. I have this little paper that I keep to remind myself of that determination and everything. And I called it my Illyrian warrior training. And I have, just a lot of really basic moves and everything to start off with, but I like had a whole calendar spread out for myself and everything. And like a week later, I was scrolling on TikTok while I was eating lunch and I came across your face on my TikTok and it's like, hey, did you read these books and you want to learn how to train like a Valkyrie? And I was like, fuck yeah, I do. And like, I don't know if you've seen it in like cartoons or anything, just like the commercial plays and you're like, the commercial plays, but and you just get more and more excited and like want to jump on it and everything. And so yeah, I found Valkyrie Squad on TikTok and I signed up for the newsletter that you were sending out. It's like, I'll let you know like when I'm closer to launch and everything. Just fuck yeah, send me that shit. I need to know.
That's so wild to think about because like as we're recording right now, like the day we're recording a year ago from today, like I was starting to wrap up filming of the first 3 months. And I remember posting those videos. Like I seems to be a trend. I go dark on TikTok every so often and then I come back and I'm like, oh, I should probably like post. So I had gone dark for a bit and I was like, oh, I should probably like every once in a while be like check back in and be like, oh, I need to advertise this program that I'm working my ass off to make. And yeah, it is weird that like it's still so weird that you guys are like, oh, I saw your face. I'm like, that's weird. Cool. I'm so sorry.
I keep waiting for you to be recognized by a stranger on the street or something and then be like, hey,
you and everyone else. Yeah, I did kind of get recognized on the incline with the sports bras, but they didn't realize it was my face. That was the thing. Even on the second time of climbing the incline, the girl was like, oh, the sports bras. I was like, yeah. And I didn't call out that I had made them. I was just like, yep. Valkyrie Squad. Yep.
The merch got the recognition. That's still awesome.
It's funny to look like everyone but no one at the same time. So it's a cool superpower.
Still get that Clark Kent, get to blend in.
Don't think I'll ever have to do the full Avengers mode of like baseball cap and sunglasses, but I'll do it anyways because the sun. Anyways, so before the program, you reached out to me about blogging your experience. What made you want to do that?
So there are a couple parts to this. And first one was because I have had a lot of success with journaling. I've always kept a journal, like since I was little. Writing was one of those things that I was just kind of naturally good at in school. And so I wanted to have a way to keep me accountable because this was before I knew about the Discord community. So I wanted a way that I could keep myself accountable and to log what I was doing. But I also wanted to have a way that I could do that with the other people so that they could know, like, hey, you can be in this shitty, horrible spot in life and still like pick yourself up and, pop to it, make a change, do something about it. And so I'm in an interesting situation where I kind of have to mask myself pretty regularly because of certain family members that I'm around. And so I wanted to have a place where I could be authentic and I could say exactly how I'm feeling and exactly what I'm doing. And, whether that means it's a bad brain day or a brain gremlin day, or if it was a really great day where I had lots of energy and I was really productive and got a lot done, I wanted to be able to make note of that, both for personal reference and, like I said, for other people.
That's amazing. And I think, and I remember the conversation, I actually remember very well when you messaged me, because it was also at the same time Morgan had commented on a video about doing a meetup at the end of like the program. And we just talked about that on the Sword in the Mountain episode, but that was all in the same day. There was so many like stacked elements, like texting Carolyn being like, well, I guess like we should probably do a meetup, to you messaging me about your blog, to the whole lot of change happening. And I remember telling my husband, like, oh my God, like someone wants to like blog about this. Like, that's really cool. And I don't remember what he said. Whoops. I don't remember what he said. I remember what we ate. I remember us picking lunch, but I don't remember what he said at all. But just telling him like, oh, like, someone wants to blog this journey. It's really cool. Like, and at the time, we've heard me say this multiple times, like, oh, I thought there was going to be like 30 people signing up. And
I fangirled so hard. I remember that day really vividly too, because I totally was not expecting to like get a response from you. Like, I was solely thinking I was just sending this message off into the TikTok void and it was never going to be responded to or whatever. Because at that point, I think a couple of your videos had started to like really reach people, and you were showing up on my feed more often. And so when I sent you that message, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. This is a really cool idea, but I also wanted to make sure that I wasn't like stepping on any toes or anything with like writing about it. And so I wanted to ask like, hey, can I do this? And because I remember talking to my husband about it and he was just like, yeah, no, that seems pretty cool. I feel like at the time it was so important that we see strong people, like just around us in general, and that we see people striving for being strong. And so I wanted to be able to write about that and share that so that other people can see that you can go from, like I said, you can go from your dark place and you can go from being miserable and unhappy with yourself to just, no, I am going to breathe fucking fire. I am going to fight with a sword. I am going to be able to hand somebody's ass to them and feel confident about it every time.
And I remember that was like part of our conversation too, like talking about that. Cause I was like, wow, you want to like blog about this like journey? Cool. Like, I thought that was really cool, but I was like, wow, people are really interested in this.
No, I definitely think that we're at one of those like crux moments. We talked about this in episode 3 too, when I was talking about lore, about how like the Valkyrie image, or I guess image, the Valkyrie image is important. It's like, it's an important image to have, is somebody being strong and badass and maybe in an unexpected way.
Totally. So joining on day 1, I remember that day, a big old blur too. How did you feel about joining the program on day 1 and like getting your hands, like you stepped into the ring basically?
I was so excited. Oh my gosh. I remember opening that email that like had all of the steps of how to like access content and how to get started in the program and all of the different features and the calendars and stuff. And I was just, this is so fucking cool, because I've done so many different fitness programs and bought so many, like workout kits and like fitness things, and none of them were as in depth as what you had at the beginning. And like Valkyrie Squad has changed and evolved as it's gone through like this whole year. But you were just like, no, I'm going to give you all of the tools. There is no secret when you get to this level, then you're going to do this. It was like, no, I'm going to show you all of the ways that you can be a badass. And that was really fantastic, was being given the idea that not only was this something that I wanted to do and that I had laid out in front of me step by step like that, but that it was made to be attainable for me. That was so important. I don't know if you remember like the P90X videos and stuff like that came out like fucking 10 years ago. I cannot tell you how much I thought I was going to die in the first 3 minutes of trying to do those workouts. Like I was dying. I could not handle it. And so it was different with Valkyrie Squad because yes, it was hard. And yes, I was sweaty. And yes, I whined about it the entire time I was working out. But I got through it. I could still do the things. And so that was really, feeling capable was important.
I have to like tangent off of P90X because this is like the second time this week this has been brought up. But my kinesiology professor put us through 2 P90X workouts back to back one day. I don't know what his point was for that class. Like there was always like a day. There's always a day in our like syllabus like we were supposed to actually like, go work out and like have a practicality to it. He did a P90X one. It was like a 20-minute ab workout. And then I forgot, I think the other one was like a full body thing. I fucking died. I like laid in bed the whole next day and like could not get out of bed. I only got up because I was so fucking hungry. But I just remember, I want to say like his point was like, this was too much. It was not my kind of fun. It was a terrible but educational like experience. And like, not to shit on P90X because I did get a lot of people moving, but it is so unattainable. It's so much at once.
Yeah, no, it's very, I feel like it's not beginner friendly at all. Like, and the general attitude that I got from like P90X and like the insanity workouts too, with those ones too, I always felt like it was, if you can't give this everything to complete this, then you're just not worthy. But it's just everything felt like it was so complicated and like, no, I can't drive my knee to my chest that high. No, I can't bounce on my feet like that. Or like, I cannot do 80 minutes of this workout. I'm going to keel over. I'm going to cease to exist right here in my living room.
And in college, that was the one and only time I did P90X. And I was like, this is not for me. Fuck this shit. Goodbye.
No, thank you. Yeah, no, I couldn't handle it. And it didn't make me feel like, oh, if I just keep going at it, then I'll get better. It made me feel like I can't handle this now. 30 days later, I'm still not going to be able to handle this. I'm going to be dying. So that was really great about Valkyrie Squad, was that it never felt unattainable or like I wouldn't be capable of doing it.
Yes. So I've basically a 2-parter question. One is like a memory, and then the next is a question. So before Squad even launched, I think maybe it was like a week or 2 before it launched, I had read your blog and you said you had hurt your back. I think it was a child's birthday or something. Like I can't remember exactly. It was something had happened and your back had hurt. And I read your blog and I was like, and again, I remember where I was when I read it. So for some reason in the car reading your blog while Mark was driving somewhere. And I was like, this girl like hurt her back. And do you think I'm overstepping if I send her this video? Because I know the video that'll help her. It's the one we do all the time. And he's like, no, I don't think you're overstepping. Her blog is public. I was like, well, I feel like a stalker because I'm like stalking her profile.
Oh my God. So I remembered this really vividly too, because I was so blown away that you would just reach out like that to just like, here, let me solve your problems for you. Because I was literally getting ready to work out. That's what it was. Is that like I had gotten everybody all ready to go for the day. Like, yes, my kid had just had a birthday, but also I was getting ready to work out because I had been going through the court workouts on the micro squad as like my pregame, I guess, to Valkyrie Squad. I wanted to make sure that I could commit myself to the program. And so while I was waiting for launch, I did the court workouts that you had released at the time. And I was totally kicking my ass, melting every single day doing it. And so I had just gotten up. I got all of the kids, busy for the morning and everything. And I went outside and I leaned down to move something on the porch because I always work out outside. And I like pulled something in my lower back when I did it. And I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. 2 minutes from getting on the mat and I hurt my back. And So I skulked inside and I was pissed off and trying to figure out like, what can I do? Because I laid down and I twisted and turned and, my husband gave me a big bear hug to try and like prop my back for me and nothing was working. I was in pain. And so I wrote my blog for the day, just, well, I got hurt because, I picked something up.
Because I'm old. That's what happens.
Is when you're in your 30s and you try to pick things up off the floor. Oh, there goes your spine. And so I wrote this blog about it and everything. And I've thrown my back out before. So I was going through the motions at the same old, trying to figure it out. And then you just like randomly message me and you're just like, hey, I know exactly what's going to help you. Can you tell me like where it is in your back that hurts? And like, can you move this way? Blah, blah, blah. And we went through it and you like walked me through how to fix my back. And I'm just like, I've spoken to this woman twice. And here she's like just reaching out to me like in all of her free time, because like I knew you had to be busy. Like you were trying to release a program in a couple of weeks. Like I knew that you were going to be busy and you're just like of your own free will and generosity. It was just like, here, let me solve your like problems for you.
And I had a video on YouTube that was like, go to this video on YouTube, ignore like this part, but like do this piece.
Yeah, you were like, go to this time and it's going to show you exactly what you need to do to fix your back. And then I want you to just do this for the rest of the day and take it easy and you'll be fine. And I shit you not. That next morning I woke up and I was just like, holy fuck, what sorcery? What is this witchcraft? Because I am not familiar with this. Because like even going to the chiropractor, like when you throw your back out, you get adjusted and you're still sore for a couple of days and you can't do anything. And I woke up the next day and I was like, I can jump. I can run, I can bounce all over the house. Like I was ready to go. And I was just so blown away that day because like there are professionals in the industry who are just like, well, yeah, I can fix you, but you're going to have to pay me an hour fee for that issue. And you were just like complete stranger, but like this badass building this program and decided that my blog was worthy of your time and like, and also that you wanted to help me. And I was so like, oh, it was another fangirl moment for me for sure.
So for everyone that's listening, the magical video she's talking about is Core Reset. I filmed a Valkyrie specific version and that's the video that has helped. It's the, I think, most highly recommended video in Discord to everyone.
10 out of 10 recommend. Your life will never be the same after using it and it'll just get better.
Yeah, I even did it yesterday before my workout, so
it's a part of my warm up every day. I don't do a day without doing Core Reset because it's that important.
So now here's the second part is my question. You have this back injury, but you also had this foot injury. With that, can you tell us how you worked through the program while being conscious of it? And I know there were a lot of modifications and we've had multiple discussions in and out of Discord of what to do.
Yes. Okay. So with my feet, I was aware that I had to pay extra attention to like impact and everything and bending of my toes because the nerve damage that I have in my feet, as well as the like bone damage I have in my feet. So it's really fun actually when my feet broke on my right foot, they broke right above my toes. The metatarsals broke right above my toes. And on my left foot, they broke right underneath my ankle. So I have like opposite areas of impact and damage on my feet. So I have to pay close attention to my ankle on my left side and close attention to my toes on the other side. It's really annoying. It made planks really tricky in the beginning and I had to watch to make sure I wasn't like jumping around a lot, which you don't really have a lot of like that kind of movement in novice. So that wasn't as much of a concern. But the back injury was actually something that you kind of made me more aware of because like I just kind of figured throwing your back out was part of being a human. Like that's just what happens and everything. I did not realize until you pointed it out that I actually probably have some malformations of the bone in my spine and that's caused because of muscle weakness. It's just something that happens over time. And that my bones have potentially changed and that was why my back hurt doing planks. And that was why like I couldn't do side planks and I couldn't do leg lifts and certain other moves without my back hurting. And so that's what, again, we like got back to Core Reset. And that's when I was just like, okay, I have to do this every day, like every single day. I can't not do Core Reset. This isn't just like a fix it when it's broken kind of a situation. This is a maintenance thing. And so I started doing core reset every single day as part of my warm-up. And as far as novice goes, I got to week 2 of novice phase in the program, and then I messaged you about it, and we, talked about my back and what was going on and everything. And I was like, okay, so I'm gonna start over, and I'm gonna just stay in these first 2 weeks until my back doesn't hurt anymore. And then, so then I did the week 1 and 2, I think like twice. And it only took like those 2 weeks. And then I had so much improvement already in my lack of back pain. Holy shit. This woman totally rocks some magic. This is crazy.
I just shoved you in the cauldron of sweat.
Stay healing shit. What is this? Because I just years of being in pain, and this woman has me do a couple like basic, like pretty light moves, I think, like, because I was still modifying them and everything so I could do them. And 2 weeks later, no back pain. I could do a full plank with no, I was complaining about my abs, but not my back. So it was different. And that was just one more layer of being just fucking impressed, because not only were you coming to my rescue when I hurt myself, but then you were showing me well, this is why you hurt yourself, and this is how you fix the hurt so it doesn't happen again. And I think I've only thrown my back out once since then.
No, I think you only maybe once or twice have hurt your back since. You've had glute pain, and we've talked about that multiple times in Discord.
And my absolute avoidance of foam rolling is my biggest issue these days, is that I just detest it, and I will whine until the cows come home about it. And then I'm just mad at myself afterwards, because 10 minutes of foam rolling, and I'm like, nothing hurts and I'm fine.
Such a simple solution. I don't know what to say. So how it's been a year. I think you've started your blog at this point, at least by this point of this episode airing, it's been a year. So how has blogging daily impacted your journey through this entire program?
There have been good points and bad points. The bad points are mostly just pressure that I put on myself, because being a mental health girly, sometimes you just don't wanna. I'm just being real with you about it. I have learned how to trust my body this year a lot, and how to listen to my body a lot. I think I've always had pretty good body awareness, but blogging has really kind of helped me learn how to listen to myself, because I'm one of those that I will give all of the greatest advice and everything to everybody around me, but I don't fucking listen to myself. And so having the blog has really helped me kind of learn where my thresholds are emotionally, mentally, and physically as well. That sometimes I'm just too tired. I have actually had a day where I was too sore to sit upright and sit at my computer and write.
Was that because of the Leo workout?
That one, not so much. I'm trying to remember. There was one at the beginning of Blade, though, where I was standing there in the kitchen, and I was getting ready to make dinner or something, and my whole body just got this wash of just bitch, we are tired. And I had to go. I had to put everything on pause for a minute and go and hit the mat and just stretch out and lay out for a minute, because my body was just we cannot be upright. We cannot be upright right now. And so, again, more body awareness. I had no idea how much work my core muscles were doing just to keep me standing up until Valkyrie Squad. When they're tired, they let you know. So doing the blog daily has been a big learning thing for me, as far as commitments go and everything. Keeping a commitment, which the blog is a commitment to myself to stay active and to stay accountable. And for the most part, I blog every day. There's a few days missing in between just because of life chaos, but I think that it's helped me a lot in my evaluation of my thoughts, and it's helped me a lot with being comfortable with where I'm at.
Yeah, I think you're very open on your blog of everything that goes through your mind, that goes through your workout.
It started out as me trying to relate my life to Nesta. And so in my earlier posts on my blog, there are a lot more quotes of the Apposite and Nesta and her interaction with Cassian and everything and training, because I related to the book so much. And it, like I said, it galvanized me and really lit a fire under my ass and got me going. And so when I first started the blog, it was very much me kind of linking my life to Nesta's life and finding those little similarities. But as I've gone along, it's become more and more about, this is just my life and my training and my experience. This is my story and how I move through it, how I handle it. And like I said, it's the perspective, the amount of perspective that it's given me and ability to look at things objectively. Because I read through my posts after I write them and everything, not just for editing purposes, but just so I can get to hear myself. And sometimes I read it and just like a couple hours later and I'm like, damn, I was an asshole this morning. Or like it'll be like later in the day or something like that, and I'll read back through it because it'll get a comment or a like or something like that, and I'll read it just to like catch the sound of it again. And I'll be like, wow, it's just like earlier, like I really took this in this direction, and now after the day has passed, I can see it from the other side. And it gives me, I guess, more room to kind of play with where I think I'm at.
Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. Like it's your living journal. It's a public journal because I'm sure I don't journal, so I don't, and if I wrote something down, it's not likely that I'm going to go back and reread it. The only reason I go back and look at my own notes is because it's for business. I don't look at anything else. That's all it's there for. If I wrote something down, it's gone. So it's good. Like you are rereading your story all the time and learning from yourself.
Yeah, it's been a really, really great kind of educational tool and a way to look at myself differently and in a not self-deprecating way, because I've always thought of myself, I guess, with like more of a joke kind of in my tone. The way I talk to myself is very sarcastic and cynical and sometimes not very nice. And so having the blog has actually helped to change my self-talk and the way that I perceive my emotions and feelings and how I push forward, or if I don't.
Amazing. Speaking of daily things, I know you're also active in the Valkyrie Squad community. How did the community impact you?
The Discord community has, it's really just been kind of incredible. Initially I was nervous because I was just like, oh, it's going to end up being like another Facebook group. Because like who wants to be part of that? And it wasn't. It completely blew me away because from the very beginning, everybody has been so incredibly supportive and compassionate, and the jokes and the innuendo that go on in there I have cried so hard and laughed so hard. I've gotten like cramps in my sore stomach muscles from some of the conversations that go on in there. And I mean, like, you want to talk about a court of dreamers. The entire Discord is full of just badass, supportive people who want what's best for you. And like you're a complete stranger to them. You're just a person on the other side of the computer, but you can have your lowest day and be absolutely like down in the dumps, crying like just a mess, and have 50 people tell you how fucking amazing you are within an hour of you venting or complaining or asking for help. And that is truly amazing. Like, that is a sense of community that I have not found in real life anywhere. And so it's had a huge impact on me. I mean, when we went to Colorado to climb the mountain and everything, it was, I never felt for a second uncomfortable around anybody because I'd been talking to all of these people for a year, for, months. And they've read, I don't say listen, they've read about some of my really low times, and they've also come to me in their own low times. And so like we've shared so much already. And so having that connection with people, even though they're, hundreds of miles away, thousands of miles away, an entire other continent away, there are people that I talk to in Australia, and we connect and we support each other and we help each other out. And it's so beautiful. It's so incredible. And it's definitely like overwhelmingly surprised me with how dedicated everybody is to supporting each other.
I don't even know how to like follow up with that because like everything you said is so true. Like it's a beautiful community. It was, I don't want to call it a happy accident, but it unfolded so beautifully. And the way everyone helps out, like you help out a lot, lifting people up. You're in the community a lot and you care about the community so much. But I think it's, as you've just said, like it helped you so much through this whole thing.
Oh, it helps. It still helps me. It helps me every day. it's not like in a time suck or like negative kind of way. You know, it's not like doom scrolling or getting lost in like some bullshit argument on Facebook or anything. It's not like that at all. It's so different. It's literally like going to the cafeteria at lunch and having all of your best friends be there.
That's a great analogy.
You know, like you can talk about anything. Nothing is off of the table. If it is, we've created a safe space so that nobody is affected negatively by anything. If you are having a shit fucking day, there is always somebody there to lift you up. If you are, you know, the sun's shining out your ass today and you just want to share it with everybody, there are people there who are excited about it with you. Every single success or achievement or accomplishment that you have, everybody is there to celebrate with you. It can be something as simple as buying new furniture or like I finally folded my laundry and put it away, and I have 10 friends who are like, fuck yeah, you did that. And but then also like, dude, we climbed a fucking mountain together, and everybody is so excited and ecstatic for you. And yeah, no, everybody is just bonded by the sweat and tears that hit the mat every day, and it's pretty amazing.
You guys all find a camaraderie in the pain that you feel in my workouts of cussing me out through the videos.
Yes. No, but we all find a sense of camaraderie in being able to swear at little Sam on the screen, and also in your suffering when you struggle through. I am not the only one who finds comfort in that. There are many of us.
It's just so like I've enjoyed like going into the month channels and reading like, what the hell was that today, Sam? I'm like, haha.
Yep. Oh, I know you do. I can like see the mischievous grin spread across your face.
So I read on your blog the other day that you have not done ataraxia yet. So you've done every other month twice now, and you're gearing up for ataraxia. We getting there?
So I got through Valkyrie phase, and then I kind of detoured a little bit, and I picked up mace training. And I was going to do mace and Valkyrie at the same time for the repeat, but I like 1 week of doing that, and I felt like I was dragging myself through quicksand trying to get to the mat. So I was overtraining. That was a big lesson for me. I've learned a lot of things in Valkyrie Squad. I was overtraining. My body was not down with combining programs. And so because I had already completed Valkyrie month, I stuck with mace until I finished that out, which was so intense that I couldn't even finish that at the rate the program was describing. I had to step back for that too, because that was a lot. So now I am kind of, I'm gearing up for ataraxia. I'm like blending. I don't want to say blending. I'm doing like opposite days of like Blade month and Valkyrie month so that I can get a little bit more of that endurance, because I'm still doing like the kickboxing and boxing drills really routinely and regularly. And then like the next day I'm doing sword drills. So I'm trying to build my endurance up for ataraxia, because I've been snooping in the ataraxia channel in Discord for a couple months now. And while I see the confidence, and then I see it go away really fast after people get through the workouts, and like, wow, that was a lot harder than I was expecting. And just other Valkyries that I've talked to who have gone through ataraxia, they're just like, yeah, no, it definitely steps it up. And I just am not sure that I'm at ataraxia level yet. So I'm working up to it. I want to get it done. I'm hopefully going to have it done by the end of August.
Well, there's no rush. I was being nosy because like always, I just go and pop into the blog and see and read. And
I'm kind of just playing with the things that I love the most about Blade and Valkyrie, because I was so excited to get into them. And I'm still so excited every time I push play on those month videos, because I've always been a sucker for boxing and kickboxing. I love MMA and all of that. And so I always feel like such a badass coming away from shadowboxing and Blade. But then there is also nothing quite as fucking awesome as going out into the yard with your music blaring and your headphones and running sword drills and just going until your arms are ready to fall off and just walk inside. Just like, yeah, badass. So I'm going through my favorites from Blade and Valkyrie month, and then I'll get going into ataraxia.
It's a fun one.
See, and it's that tone. I recognize that tone, because that's the same tone that you give us when you realize that you made something really fucking tricky.
I just really love the change of pace and the different type of challenge that it brings.
And I am excited because that is one thing that you kept pretty consistent through every phase is that, like, yes, we do touch on familiar moves like those curtsy lunges and everything, which I didn't realize how necessary those were until I got into Valkyrie month. And then when we climbed the mountain, those curtsy lunges, oh my goodness, there's a reason we do so many of them. It's kind of cool, actually, because I can see where the buildup was needed. And, like, I don't know, I can do the math in my head of all of these things and how it builds up through the program, and it's been really awesome. But you don't do too much of, like, the same thing over and over again, you know, like, you keep the variety there. So the ADHD people like me don't get bored and go frolic off somewhere else.
Yes, that's the big challenge of writing the programs is, like, making sure that you get the repeats that you need that are necessary, but not making it boring, because I too will get bored.
Yeah, it's not monotonous or, like, tedious at all. There's not so much repetition that you're, like, dying to get through it.
So you've talked about some of your, like, some of your, like, learnings and some takeaways. Can you tell us a bit more about, like, your biggest learnings and takeaways from the program?
I did not know that I needed as much healing as I did when I started this program. I genuinely was just like, I'm going to get myself back in shape so I can stop being so fucking sad all the time. And, you know, I had it in my head that that was my solution to my problems, was that if I could just get my shit together, I would be fine. And I didn't realize that getting my shit together also meant facing a lot of inner turmoil. And again, this is just me relating back to Nesta and going through the whole tearing herself apart while she's on that hike with Cassian and stuff. That was me before the program. I was tearing myself apart every single day because I couldn't find anything to love. And Valkyrie Squad and the Discord community and you have taught me to listen to myself and to respect myself, and that I bring value to the table, and that my best is enough every day, even if it's different every single day. It's also really taught me to embrace my body type. We've talked about it a lot on the podcast and in a lot of different episodes and in the Discord all the time and everything, that, you know, every body is different. And, like, that's something that we're raised with being told, is like every body is different, you know, but it didn't really settle in me that my body is okay and that it's worth the effort and the time to take care of, and that I can still be the badass that I always wanted to be when I was a kid. It's not too late for me just because I'm a mom or I'm in my 30s or I'm broken or I've experienced all of these things. Like, none of that takes away from me. And that's been, I think, probably the biggest thing that I've learned this year.
So did it teach you to learn to love your feelings? Because I'm still trying to learn that one too. But
yes, no, I am happy to hold space for myself now, instead of being irritated that I am responding this way, or irritated that something is happening to me, or mad at the world or the universe because, you know, so many things have gone wrong. Instead, I have the opportunity to sit and look at my experiences and myself and my life and how I'm handling things and decide if I like it or not. And if I don't, I have the power to change that. And that wasn't something that I knew before.
I don't know how to phrase this next question. How does, like, working out and doing that, like, doing this program correlate to you and having that just awareness in yourself?
No, and it's an unexpected response, truthfully, because, like, you don't really correlate, at least initially, I never correlated mental health with the physical fitness or physical activity or anything like that. There's no relation. They're part of the same body, but there's no relation. No, I truly had no idea that in my depression, I was neglecting myself so severely and on such a deep and internal level that, like, I had no idea it was happening. I was completely oblivious to it. And so in carving that time out for myself, waking up extra early in the morning so that I would have the time and the opportunity to work out without interruption, then turned into, also, because when you're depressed, you don't even brush your teeth. Like, that's something that nobody really talks about, but like your literal hygiene just goes down the drain. And so when you are in such a dark place and you're trying to claw yourself out of it, like it starts with those little steps of like going to bed just a little bit earlier so that you're not as tired in the morning, because you don't want to be an asshole first thing in the morning. It's making sure that you're drinking a bunch of water because you're a fucking dehydrated houseplant and goddamn it, you need water. It's like coffee is bad. Don't drink 12 cups of coffee in a day. That's literally killing you. That's not okay. Like, take care of yourself. And that I didn't realize how much of that I had let go in my sadness and in my depression. And so when I first started hitting the mat, I mean, there were those first couple of days that I started doing micro squad workouts when I was pre-gaming for Valkyrie Squad. There were a couple of times where like I would stop in the middle of a rep and be, what the fuck am I doing? Who likes to be sweaty? I don't like to be sweaty. Like,
no, I absolutely hate it.
It's so, and being a bigger body person and being insecure and uncomfortable, like I'm literally in my yard, like adjusting my layered shirts so that nobody can see a roll stick out while I'm doing squats or something like that. Like that's where I started, was being so uncomfortable and so hateful in my body that I could not even stand a stranger from down the street driving by to maybe see me in their 10 seconds of driving down the road, to all of a sudden, like, no ifs, ands, or buts. I'm in bed on time every single night. I am drinking tons of water every day. I am on the mat taking care of myself. And like, truthfully, it's almost like paying homage to myself. Like when Aelin says, I am a god, like that is what, that is how I feel about it. Like, I am paying homage to myself. I am honoring myself every single day that I hit the mat, every single time I grab the weights. Every single time I see the sweat drip down on the ground underneath me, like that is a moment of pride, because I am comparing this moment to the one a year ago when I couldn't even get out of bed and I couldn't even face the day at all. Valkyrie Squad and training every day and forcing myself through this training has given me my life.
That's quite a journey. And I wouldn't say forcing yourself. You're so ambitious and you're so geared up that there was no stopping you. Like, it was not forcing. There were days like, yes, I know, like, again, like reading your blog, it's like, oh, I have to get on the mat, but I wouldn't call it forcing. You just had so much, you still have so much ambition and drive that it's not a force.
Forcing isn't really the right word to use. You're right. I hit a wall and I was sick of where I was, and I knew that I had to fucking do something about it, and there was no chance to wait. It was not the time to wait. The time to wait was over. The time for being sad was over. The time for waiting for the universe to throw me a fucking bone was over. I had to get up and do something.
Did a baboon come up to you and go, "It is time"? Is that what happened?
I got smacked on the head with Rafiki's stick, telling me to get my head out of my ass.
That's what I assumed is what happened, is that in Michigan, a baboon came up to you with a big old stick and said, "It is time."
I don't know if it was a baboon or if it was somebody threw a book at me or something.
Or
I don't
my
know.
baboon face appeared on your TikTok. That's fine. That's fair.
Flipped a switch, man, and everything changed after that.
Well, I'm so glad. What would you recommend Valkyrie Squad?
Absolutely. You ask me all the time. Absolutely. I do every day. Strangers in the store, people I haven't seen in a couple of months who see me. Things have changed. I have muscles now. I pick up something heavy. Hey, where'd you learn to do that? Valkyrie Squad. Smack myself in the head with a sword. Where'd you learn to do that? It was like, well, I didn't do it right, but I learned that in Valkyrie Squad.
It's like the answer of, hey, this thing hurts. What should I do? Foam roll. Yours is, hey, where'd you do that? Valkyrie Squad. It's the same thing.
Yep. Valkyrie Squad. Every time Valkyrie Squad.
Always. Well, you are giving us and all of our lovely listeners our cauldron-blessed wisdom for the episode. So take it away, Mia.
Over the course of our lives, we experience, endure, and overcome so much more than we ever tell anyone outside of our internal selves. Our inner dialogue is often some of the most brutal and critical. When we don't address the trauma it stems from, we can feel trapped and lost in our own heads, in our lives, and like there's no way out. The stories we're given growing up always depicted someone else rescuing the princess, someone else being the hero. I want to remind you that you can be the hero in your own story. This episode's action item is a storytelling exercise that I've done a few times, and it helps me really connect with my inner child and do some unexpected healing. But just a heads up, this can get a little heavy for some. Sit down with a picture of yourself or a memento from your childhood that meant something to you, a favorite toy or comfort item. You can either write this down, draw it out, or simply use your imagination and visualize the story in your mind. Hold child you in your mind, and in a time when you think that you needed something, needed someone, or something happened where you weren't heard, where you needed a hero, even from small situations that impacted you. Remember the feelings of those moments. Now become your hero. Visualize yourself as the warrior badass who rescues your child self, who steps in and lends a hand or gives a hug, or literally protects you with their sword and shield. Imagine the armor you give yourself, your weapons, shield, everything. Give hero you superpowers if it suits you, or the ability to take you to a safe space. You can take this visualization or storytelling as far as you want to. Give yourself your dream life and a happily ever after. Take some deep breaths and give yourself a big hug when you're done.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today, Mia. And your story was 100% worth telling. It has been an incredible journey for you.
Thank you for having me, Sam. I'm glad that I can share and hopefully inspire some people.
Of course. And you can always, if you're listening, you can always go and reach out. Mia's in the Discord all the time. But until next time, be strong, kick ass, and be fucking magical every day. This episode was produced by Bex Castro, Mia Garlock, and Carolyn McMorrin. And a special thanks to Valkyrie Mia for coming on today's podcast. You can connect with her on TikTok at thevalkyrienerd or Instagram at Renegade Mia, and on her blog, thevalkyrienerd.blog. Special thank you to Taylor Ash for creating the music of this podcast. And thanks for listening to The Sword and the Ribbon by the Micro Squad. If you're interested in learning more about the Valkyrie Squad, visit us at thevalkyriesquad.com. If you're interested in learning more about the Micro Squad or Geek Gym for a class, visit us at themicrosquad.com. Make sure you're subscribed to the show wherever you get your podcasts from so you don't miss out. And if you like this week's episode, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts.